Hello and welcome to the Comedy Road Show. I'm your host, Stephen Bigilen. My next guest, Katsy Chappell, is visiting our Los Angeles studio from Burbank, California. Welcome to the show, Katsy.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here. Give me some of that boom. Boom.
So tell us about yourself.
I'm a black woman. Well, yeah, just in case, because, I do have the coloring to be some other stuff. But I'm back to stand-up after a 10-year hiatus and a 125-pound weight loss. Did comedy from 88 to 98. In that time, I was a Star Search semifinalist where I bested six guys in 5 shows. Semifinalist. Toured for 2 years as Patti LaBelle's opening act. I've opened for Howie Mandel and a bunch of other people. And then I stopped. I decided I was done. What brought that on was that a reporter wrote about me. At the time when I did comedy before, I was nickel shy of 3 bills in the weight category, if you know what I mean. Big girl. And Ohio reporter wrote about Patti LaBelle and included me in it and said he loved me. He hoped to see more from this jumbo jokester. He called me a jumbo jokester in print. At 300 pounds, that is not something a female ever wants to see. It broke my heart. Came off the comedy circuit and decided I was done with it. Went to school, became a massage therapist in a chiro's office, worked there for 10 years. And in that time, my patients would tell me that I was very funny. It's like, why are you there? You are funnier than comics that are on stage. Not knowing that I had been a comedian. And it kind of got to me that they were like, you should do comedy. You're rolling on the table naked. I'm like, hey, stay dressed. keeping them clothed. So I revisited, came back to stand up in 2008, and came back 125 pounds lighter and 10 years older. So all that material went by the wayside. I couldn't even remember it for one thing because I only got 2 brain cells in my head. I'm old.
So you started from scratch.
I started from scratch. And when I came back with a platform. Like a beauty pageant, beauty pageant contestants have a platform. As a comedian, I have a platform, and that is I'm green. I'm an enviromedian. I want to do whatever I can do to leave less of my carbon print on this earth. So much so that I probably would be considered a hoarder. Wait, don't laugh at that. You ain't been in my place. You wouldn't be laughing if you walked in and went, "Oh my God!"
You're not exaggerating.
No, it's so bad. I don't date because when I bring a guy home and they go, "Oh my God, who broke in and trashed your place?" And I have to tell them, you need to stay on the happy trail, or this ain't gonna end good.
So does this reflect on your comedy material?
It does.
Do you bring a lot of material about being green friendly?
Being green friendly, yes, sir. I mean, it's like these Scrabble earrings.
They're beautiful.
They're fun to wear, and I did not even realize there was joke in them until I'm waiting in line, and a gentleman was getting ready to pass by me, and he stopped and he went, "Do you play Scrabble?" Just like that. And I went, "Oh my God, that's a joke." I went home and wrote that down, and it became the basis for one of my Scrabble jokes. And so, yes, people will come at you with comedy. He did, and he was breathing, and I'm like, "Sir, could you? I'm hot. Could you back off? Hello."
He wanted to see if they were the real thing.
He knew they were real. He just, oh my God, he thought I was a gamer. He thought I was a Scrabble gamer, and I'm like, no. I go, no, but I know I'm worth 8 points, 16 if I'm hot, and I am, because you're breathing on me, sir. Could you back away? So yes, I love recycling. Right here, this is a bottle cap.
No kidding. Was
a bottle cap, and you to know that you can wear something that used to hold a drink in, beer bottle caps and pop bottle caps. I now save, and I turn them into fridge magnets and lapel pins and areola covers. Yeah, well, they make little nice sombreros. And I found out that they're a helping aid in situations where husband and wife have been together so long, you don't know how to bring spice to the bedroom. So I tell my women friend to save up bottle caps. Save big old bucket of bottle caps. And when your fella's in there watching that game, start in there with that flat screen TV where he is and start plunking down them bottle caps to the bedroom. And then you get undressed in your birthday suit and you lay out pretty. And you top your tippers and you just wait. Because he's going to get up to walk by on a break. And when he does, you go, this bud's for you. The game is on. of a different kind. Absolutely, absolutely. So that's where a lot of my jokes come from. It's not unheard of for me to see somebody throw something thinking they've got it in the trash and it pings off and it ends up on the floor, and I pick it up and put it into a piece of artwork. And then they're at a craft show 6 months later going, oh my gosh, why is that so familiar? And I go, that's that Whopper wrapper you threw away 6 months ago.
Oh no!
It's $60 now, ain't it pretty? I do like recycling. Right here, this is a hat, but it actually looks like something that was in a plant that a plant lived in. And I wear it because it is my... it's like an ode to Moms Mabley, who is one of my favorite comics, and Lucille Ball, who is also one of my favorite comics. And if one of the scenes from Lucy and Ethel, and then when they were in Paris and they wanted the really cool Parisian outfits, and Fred and Ricky went and had potato sacks made into costumes with the funny hats. This was reminds me of one of the hats.
It reminded me of something Lucille Ball would have worn also in I Love Lucy.
And
So,
I wear it, and people come up and go, oh my
funny
God,
you
that
said
is such a neat, where's your plant? I'm like, it's at home.
So you stole the question right out of my mouth. I was going to ask you, who are your comedic influences?
I have a lot of them. As I said, Moms Maybe Lucille, but I love the old people who make you laugh today that have been gone years.
Isn't that amazing?
What we have now are niche comics that something that's funny this season isn't funny any longer. It's very rare to find a comic that makes people laugh through the ages. And so I love Shelley Berman. Shelley Berman has some funny bits. And he's one of the reasons I started making soap from scratch. He had a bit that if you Google it, Shelley Berman and soap, and his bath-sized bar of dial that in a London hotel that the maids kept stealing and replacing with little bath bars. It's hysterical, and it's like 10 minutes long. I love stuff like that, the visuals that are there. What other New Age comics? I love Louis C.K., even though he's a little weird and a little dark. I love Louis C.K. I love George Wallace because he beats you over the head with comedy. You feel like you're in church. You are in church. You feel wrung out and put away when he is done. When you're done with this. I like clean comics. I like comics that can make you laugh, that make a whole family of people laugh, which is why I started a comedy class just recently. For people who want to work clean, for people who also are in sales. You always want to buy from that person that made you laugh, that were fun, and that told you, maybe told you a joke that you could share at the dinner table.
How many students at a time do you have in your
12.
class? So you do
12.
classes of 12 at a time?
Yes. You want a nice round number. If they're doing 5 minutes, it's scary for them. So I like, to get comics. I also want dirty comics who want to work clean because it's so cool to be in a class where everybody must work clean. I can't tell you how frustrating it is, and what I hear from comics, and I know for myself, that a comic has just dirtied up it has stunk up the stage with F-bombs and below the belt blue jokes, and then you get to follow your Mary Sunshine. You get to follow that, and what they have done, what that comic, that blue comic has taken that audience into a level so down in the basement, you spend a good portion of your time trying to bring them up to that level. And sometimes it's very difficult because they're in the gutter at that point.
So your class is helping a lot of comics also.
Yes, comics, people in sales, people who speak. People, if you make someone laugh in the beginning of your presentation, they're going to hone in, they're going to tune into you instead of tuning you out. Because you've made them laugh and you've kind of made them a friend. You've become like that next door neighbor.
Where's your class?
It's Portico's Art Space.
Porticosartspace.org.
www. It is on St. James Methodist Church. Our theater is there. We've turned a gym into a theater space, a 99-seat equity house.
Which city is this?
Pasadena.
This is in the city of Pasadena.
2033 Washington Boulevard. There's lots of free parking. The stage is big and beautiful. There are cush seats, which I helped build that 16-foot stage struts. I also helped build the audience risers, and
wow.
It's just
so you had a lot of influence.
I
want to ask you about life on the road, and not only that. I understand you've done a lot of work with the USO.
With the Armed Forces Entertainment and USO. Back in the 88 to 98, I did a lot of shows for the USO. In fact, I was voted Entertainer of the Year by the Bob Hope USO shows back then. When I started back in 2008, I got on with Armed Forces Entertainment, and in 2010, I performed for the troops all over Iraq and Kuwait. And then that was really cool. That was a momentous thing because we are no longer in Iraq. We got our troops out of there. In 2011, I was sent back over and performed in Bahrain, Kuwait, and Djibouti, Africa.
Wow.
For the troops. And it's such a thrilling thing to know that you're giving these people who give us freedom, who protect our rights, you're giving them a little bit of downtime from the stress. It is so stressful over there.
Did you go from camp base to camp base? Or
you were flown. You were flown from base to base. And when I went in 2010, it was very cool because we were issued flak jackets and helmets. And we were flown around in C-130 airplanes and Black Hawk helicopters. And I had to share this story with you. We're going over the Iraqi desert. We are suited up. We got our flak jackets on and our helmets. And we're in this helicopter, this Black Hawk helicopter. And I'm by the window. And it's so loud. You got all this stuff in. I casually put my hand up against what I thought was the window, and it went outside. It scared me. Yanked it back in. And then 30 minutes later, fire. There was gunfire out of the guns that are right to the side. I'm like, ah! And I just started saying my prayers and saying, okay, we're going down. They're shooting. And I could just imagine the Iraqis with the big howitzers or something shooting up at us. Come to find out when we landed at base that they were test firing. They need to know. They need to let us know that before we take off. That should be in the in-flight presentation. We're going to test fire a little bit, so you might want to put on some defense.
You've done multiple tours.
I've done multiple tours. I performed worldwide. I performed in Japan. I performed in Africa. Not just Djibouti, but Zambia and Zimbabwe.
For the troops, again, for the troops.
For the troops in Djibouti, but I was just on a regular tour, just going over to Africa and Japan when I performed for them, and I've also performed in Canada, all over Canada, and I like making people laugh because when you're making somebody laugh, you're giving them the gift of forgetting their troubles for that moment. They forget the steak that was burned. They forget they had a horrible day at work. They just sit there going, oh yeah, it's nice.
Or a horrible week at work.
A horrible week at work.
On a Friday night.
Coming Friday, exactly. And I also am a big proponent of comedy shows where there's no alcohol served.
When you were doing the military audiences, I take it they were sober. They probably even had their rifles in their hands.
Oh, dude, they walk around in it's like a modern day Western town. There's guys in PE workout gear with their guns on them, and they're not loaded, but they got them on them, and you're like, hi, how are you? Is everything okay? Can I get you anything?
You've done the military circuit. You've done corporate. You've done the churches. You've done the casinos, and a lot of the casinos have to be family friendly also.
You do.
So these are an extension of comedy clubs that
are prolific and growing. So you can do your niche dirty comic in the comedy in or blue comedy in those clubs, but it is definitely difficult to get you out to grow so that you can be mainstream. Let me tell you this. Casinos, people go, oh, it's a casino. Really? Casinos are mid-America. There are people who have gotten on a plane in the Midwest or the East or the South and gone to have fun at a casino, gamble a little bit, see a show. They don't want to hear you talk about your blue good forever. They got them at home. It's like I have a joke about my hair. Growing up as a little girl, I never got to wear two ponytails. So I'll ask someone, a white female in the audience, how many ponytails did you get to wear when you were growing up? Shout it out loud. Two. I never got to wear two. I was a little girl. You always saw it with the 95,000 buckwheat braids, and I would go on. Yes, my mother would braid my hair once a month, and she braided it so tight. Half the month I looked African, the other half I looked Asian. I had an African thing going on. I did, because she didn't want to have to deal with it every day. And so that's where I'm going.
Loosen up after a while?
Yeah, they do. That's how she knew it was time to comb it again, because I had round eyes. Oh my gosh, your eyes are round. Get over here. I need to do your hair.
To give you the Asian look again.
But you see, I go out to the audience to get to ask a question, and what I've done is involve them, and then they come up and go, that is so funny, because you involved my friend.
What makes something funny?
What makes something funny is if you see something, you know how you're standing around and you all see something and you turn to each other and you laugh? It's time to go home and write down what happened there, because that is a story. You ever made a neighbor laugh with a story and they're crying laughing?
Yeah.
That's funny. And if you got them laughing, what you've got to figure out is how you put that in form so that it becomes a joke for you forever. And you know, some of the funniest things are things that happen to you during the day, and you relay them at night. I get to gigs. I just headlined a room in Oregon for a weekend. And it was one of those where when you're on the road, headline is 45 to an hour. And it's great because it's so unlike LA where if you get 15, woo, you're a headliner. No, you're not a headliner. You're not a headliner when you're doing 15 minutes at the end of the night. You're closing. You're the caboose. Stop. Quit telling people you headlining. You ain't headlining. You're sweeping up. You're Carol Burnett. That's what you are. So glad we had this time together. That's what you're doing. I didn't mean to get off. So you get on the road and you get away from 1,000 comics on a show a night. You get to do 3 comics or 4 at the most. You get an opener who is usually the MC, the feature who does 25 to 30, the headline who does 45 to an hour. That's a headliner. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I go up and I do my set and everything. The first night I did 50 minutes. The second night I did an hour 10. And at an hour, I was like, I got to wrap up. And the audience was all, no, keep going. And I looked over the booker who's got the check in her hand, and she's like, keep going. And so I go for another 10 minutes, and I go, you Oregon people got to get home, and I do, because I'm the only black person in this town. I need to be safe. So you work it in. I get to places early so that I can walk around town, get a feel for the flavor of the place. Because you do a joke about, if you spend a few minutes letting them know you know about their town, you have embraced them and they embrace you back, and you can just do what you need to do. It's that simple.
That's a great point.
Yes. I performed in England. And the comedy store is in Leicester Square. Mm-hmm. And I had to make a little fun of Leicester Square because it's spelled Leicester, Leicester. I go, who decided how to pronounce this name? Y'all missing some vowels here. Y'all call it Leicester, Lester. There's a CEI. What's all that about? So I would make fun of them. You English people.
Yeah, we had David Connolly went to college in Leicester. He was one of the guests on the show.
Yes, very funny guy. I saw his YouTube.
Hope he's okay. He went to New York for the opening of his movie that him and his wife produced.
Oh, wow.
And they got caught in that hurricane.
Oh, wow.
So I hope he's okay.
Yeah. I'll be heading there soon. My hoarding is possibly paying off of the fact that the Anderson Cooper show
Anderson Cooper. Okay, now while you were here today, Anderson Cooper's been on your phone.
The entire
you're on your phone's on silent right now.
On silent,
right?
It is on silent.
So this is true. Our studio audience, Anderson Cooper's been interrupting this interview. He's trying to steal her from my seat here.
Well, they got wind that I'm a hoarder, and
this has a lot to do with your creative ability and how you transform trash into art.
Yes, and how I'm afraid to let things go that I haven't yet transformed into art.
So Anderson Cooper has he really
his
wants you on
people
the show.
Yes.
So has his people been to your home already?
They're coming this week.
Okay.
Could you come over and help me clean up a little bit? Because I told them I've only got one pad, so y'all can't send a crew. I go, how many's in your crew? How many's in your posse? Because if it's more than 2, I'm going to have to create another trail.
They'll have to send in robotic cameras.
Yes, please. I wouldn't mind.
They'll use the same equipment they sent with the Chilean miners.
Exactly. Send it in. And my friend Wenzel, he turned me into the Anderson Cooper. He told him I lost my cat in my house. My cat knew where he was. He just didn't want to be found by Wenzel. So I didn't lose him. He was on a vacation. He was on a catcation, whatever.
So show us speaking of your phone and Anderson Cooper calling all the time, or his people calling all the time. Show us what you do with your phone here.
One of my, I'm very crafty, as I've said, and I like to make things that make life easier. I travel a lot, and you know how when you're going through airports, you have to take everything out of your pockets, put everything in the deal, and then go through. You put it on your belt, and people are taking your wallet and this and that and the other. I came up with this device that I designed and sewed up on my sewing machine. I call it the dangler because it dangles. It does. But the best part about it is I made it like this so that you're able to get on your Facebook. It's in this clear pouch, so that you're able to do stuff. And you know how people put their phones down and it walks away.
And you have a little zipper on the back, so you can get all the things in there.
I have a zipper on the back, which you open it up, the zipper, and here's my car, my Western bagel, my money, and I even sewed a pocket over here, which has a hide key in case I need to get it.
And this got you through.
This got me all over the Middle East, because what happens is you go through TSA, any airport, you take it off, you put it on, your eye is on this. When it comes off, it comes back on your person, on your...
Is this one of the items that you're selling on Etsy?
This is, Etsy, ETSY. I am Katsy Jammer on Etsy. I make custom ordered dangler cases, and I also teach in quilt workshops. I'm a speaker in quilt venues. That's another area for comics. If you caught something.
So you don't have time for a boyfriend. Even if you could fit a boyfriend in your apartment. When you find your cat, did you find your cat?
My cat wasn't lost. Stop that. He was not lost. He came out as soon as Wenzel left. He's afraid of white dudes. He's black. He's black like me. Yes. He knows what y'all did 200 years ago. He ain't coming close. He's like, oh, hell no. I know what happened.
You want any particular tours?
Not yet. No, I am.
So you're mainly doing the headlining
when I'm called, and what I love about it is, like, when I'm called, it's because some guy comic has stuck up for me, has gone and said, you got to get this girl in here because she'll do a good job. And I don't stink up, even if I go in as a feature, I'm not going to stink up the stage for the headliner, make it hard. There are comics who actually, I'm going to kill, and they kill, and they pissed off the headliner. They ticked off the headliner because now depending on who they are, especially if it's a clean headliner and they have to follow blue, they're not happy. So I'm just the middle of the road. I'm your next door neighbor. I'm your next door neighbor comic with little funnies to share, while we're doing our laundry or taking it down or whatever like that.
And how often are you on the road? Do you perform mainly where you can get home at night, or
I perform where I can get home at night, but I go out, like a couple of times a month. I'd love to be out more. When I did it stand up from 88 to 98, I spent like 9 months of the year out. I did a lot of colleges, and I want to get back to colleges. I did a lot of cruises, and I want to get back to cruises.
That's got to be fun.
Yeah, but 10 years have gone by, and getting those connections is difficult. They don't know what you do, and especially with Def Jam, they think, from looking at me, I could be a dirty comic, and I'm not. So I've got to really, I have to prove myself, and I'm so thankful for the comics who have said, you ought to hire this girl. They recently went up to Washington and did Jokers. That's a Thelma and Louise trick right there. You need a buddy.
So that's more
through 3 states.
That's more of a flight rather than a drive.
Yeah, but it's in such a deserty area. You think of Washington, you think of Seattle being green, and this is on the other side of Washington that is arid and Mojave-like, grape country. And it was quite different, but it was wonderful. Jokers is a wonderful room to play. It's a 3-nighter, very nice hotel they put you in. I love anytime there's a good hot breakfast. That's a good.
So you mentioned some of the other clubs that are up towards the Great Northwest.
When I played the Throckmorton, do you know the Throck?
No.
It's in Mill Valley. It's Mark Pitta's room. It's a theater that is basically all kinds of entertainment, like music and whatnot, but Mark has Tuesday nights, Mark Pitta and Friends, and Mark is a comic from when I did stand up back in the 80s and 90s, and it's Mark Pitta and Friends, and he gets all the big people that come in from San Francisco. Dana Carvey, Robin Williams, Mort Saul, Shelley Berman. All of these comics, and Eddie Brill, who flies out from New York, will hit the Throg. So I've gotten since I've started back to stand up. I've gotten to play up there a couple of times, and it's a great room.
That sounds
intelligent
like,
comic audience. And just really nice, and I played Paso a lot, several times for. There's a comic booker up there, Lizette Mizell, who books these amazing shows. That woman works herself to the bone. She sells out like 400 and 600 seater rooms.
Really?
I played the fairgrounds for her, which she sold out. I am just like, I don't. She always stresses too about I'm not going to be able to. It always comes through. She runs a great show, does well by her comics,
And that's pretty typical for her to book very large venues like that?
Yeah, it seems to be. I booked. I've worked for her several times, and it's been all big venues like that.
Your typical audience on a typical night, how big is the room?
I like rooms where people are drinking non-alcoholic beverages. So I like coffee places.
So then you know they're really laughing because you have good material at that point.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. Alcoholics Anonymous groups. Wow.
There's wellness. There's wellness groups you can perform in front of. There's a lot of places to do stand-up, to bring humor, and you just have to be aware of it. Like, a bunch of us can go in and do comedy at a hospital for a children's ward.
So then you go from that to a 600 room, a 600 seat theater. That must be an incredible change of.
It is, pace. and it's very. It's exhilarating on both levels to know you're bringing a room full of people. You could see them laughing, and you can see them shaking their head, and they're with you and everything. And take that, shoot that adrenaline 100-fold, and that's how it feels when you have all of that laughter coming at you on stage, 600-seater room.
When you were doing the military tours, like how many people were in those audiences?
A couple of hundred. It could be a couple of hundred to a small base where there's 50, or something like that. And those are military tours are always fun because you always get to meet the commanders, and you have to do they have you, because I have so many certificates at home, because they give you a certificate of appreciation, and they take your hand, the colonel does like this, and when he shakes your hand and you let go, they palmed you a coin of their whatever their base or whatever their squadron. It's like one of those cool coins.
Oh, I bet you have a collection of those.
I've got a collection of those.
What about Louis C.K.'s duck? Have you run into his duck on the?
No, I have not run into his duck on the plane. But I'll be like, are you the Aflac or are you the Louis C.K.? Aflac, Louis C.K. Come here, I'm talking to you.
So here's a question.
Yes.
Why do black people like fried chicken so much?
You know what? That's hysterical. They like it you know why they like it so much? Because white people do too.
That was my next question.
Know what?
Do they like it as much as white people?
We all like it. You know what's hysterical that you would bring that up is because I'm a yard sailor as well, and I love finding gems. I found a book a while back that is now a part of my act. And
that's why
I was gonna say, because I'm like, what is it? I'm like, I have at home for y'all. I didn't bring it with me today because I have a book that is entitled "Why Do Black People Love Fried Chicken?" and other questions you've wondered but didn't dare ask, answered by YoBlackFriend.com. And what made me laugh is there's a chapter in there on watermelon. And I'm like, really? Watermelon? Let me ask.
Like white people don't like watermelon.
Do you like watermelon? I always query. I query the audience, and I always find out that it could be 100 people, it could be 1,000 people in that room. I'm the only black person. They're all, woo! I'm like, there's a lot of watermelon eating white people in here. But it's put, such a stigma on it, the chicken and the watermelon. Man, I can't eat watermelon in front of white people. I would have a difficult time eating watermelon in front of you, and I know you're a nice man. I know you're nice. It's like when I go to
watermelon together.
When I go to a salad bar, my eye is on the prize. I look down a salad bar and it stops at watermelon, and my eyes get all ooga, and then I have to go covert operations like Wile E. Coyote to see how I'm gonna get that watermelon on my plate without white people seeing me. So I get big old leaves of lettuce, and then I play like baby corn, and I go buy the tomatoes, and I put some cottage cheese on there, and I had the lettuce all laid out, fanned out, and then I get to the watermelon, and I act like I never heard of it before. Now, what's the watermelon? What is watermelon? Oh, I should try it. And I start chunking it up under the lettuce. I chunk it up with a big old hump like that. And then I go enjoy it in the bathroom because I don't want them to know my business.
So that's good that you use that. You recycle that book on
That book is mine. And you know what? I got it at a yard sale. And what was funny about that is that the yard sale, the woman selling the book was a white lady. I'm like, what is she doing? She saw me see the book, right? And she's like, and she couldn't get over fast enough to yank it off the table. I went, how much you want for it? She goes, oh, on a quarter. I go, I'll give you a dime. And so I paid her, and then I stood right there, and I read every page in front of her, and then she's all getting sweating and turning red like you. And when I got done, I go, well, what'd you find out about her? She goes, y'all are nice people. This is true. And I got ready to leave, and I'm looking around for other things I could, and she had another book on her table. It was entitled Nappy Hair with a big old bush on the front. She goes, oh, just take it. It's yours, free. Just take it. I go by there occasionally to check what other Negro items she's carrying.
How can people follow you? Do you have a website?
Twitter and the Facebook, and then they can always find me at Porticos, www.porticosartspace.org.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I had a great time.
It was a lot of fun.
I love the way he make this look like we're in the studio. There's people back there eating watermelon, chicken. I can't wait till he takes this off me so I can go dive into some chicken. Yes, what would you like?
So we have to stay looking at each other while the credits are.
I don't want to look at you any longer. I've looked at you. How long have I been looking? Oh, how long have I been looking at you?
Katsy, thanks for being on this show.
Thank you for having me.